ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। So here we find Lord Kapila is describing the process of Ashtanga Yoga. So as you can see in this verse, Prabhupada is translating, after controlling one's mind and sitting postures. So, until and unless one has learned yama and niyama with regulations, following the regulations, first one has to bring his mind and senses under control. Then asana begins. Generally we find people, when they are practicing yoga system, they neglect yama and niyama, rules and regulation, and controlling the mind and senses. They directly take to this physical asanas, but then it will not be very useful. Just like one of the very important rules and regulation is to follow celibacy. We saw this. Lord Kapila is saying one should follow celibacy. So they don't follow all these things. Now, Krishna Balaram ki jai. That is the reason when Krishna also begins this chapter, 6th chapter in Bhagavad Gita, Sankhya Yoga, Krishna first recommends that it is better one carry out his prescribed duties and become purified. See, if you see the first verse itself of 6th chapter, what is Krishna saying? Anashrita karma phalam karyam karma karoti yaha sa sannyasi cha yogi cha. So Krishna is saying, the blessed Lord said, one who is unattached to the fruits of his work and who works as he is obliged is in the renounced order of life. See, why Krishna is saying this is because if one has to practice Ashtanga Yoga, this dhyana yoga, he has to renounce work. Can you practice without renouncing work? You have to go and sit down in a secluded place. Where is work? Where is your prescribed duty? If you are carrying out your prescribed duty, Krishna is saying you have to renounce, and then you have to go, you have to sit in a place sanctified, secluded place. So if you have already gone to secluded and sanctified place, where is your prescribed duty? Correct. Now we will try to understand, when does Krishna recommend that? First, Krishna is recommending it is better you do your prescribed duties. And then Krishna is saying, if you do your prescribed duties properly, by not getting attached to the fruits of your action, so sannyasi, then you are sannyasi. Anashrita karma phalam karyam karma karoti yaha sa sannyasi cha yogi cha. So, one who is unattached to the fruits of his work and who works as he is obligated is in the renounced order of life. And he is the true mystic. And then Krishna says, not he who lights no fire and performs no work. Because if somebody has to perform now meditation, asana, dharana, dhyana, finally samadhi, there is no prescribed duty. There is no work he is carrying out. He has renounced all that work. So, Krishna is saying, who is better? This person is far better, because the other one is impractical. It is not very practical. Now, that also Krishna will explain. It is explained in the Yoga Sutras also. There are two stages of yoga, Ashtanga Yoga. Yoga Rukshu and Yoga Rudha. Beginning of yoga and final mature stage of yoga. In the beginning stage of yoga, one should not give up his prescribed duties. This is important. In the beginning stage of yoga, one should not give up his prescribed duties, because when one carries out his prescribed duties, that will help him to become purified. Whereas, if he renounces prematurely his prescribed duties, his heart is not purified, and even when he renounces externally and goes to Himalaya to practice Ashtanga Yoga, his mind will be distracted. He is not ready to perform Ashtanga Yoga. Next, Krishna says, what is called renunciation is the same as yoga, or linking oneself with the Supreme. For no one can become a yogi unless he renounces the desire for sense gratification. So now Krishna is explaining. Krishna has already told, do your work, don't be attached to the fruits. Then you are already a sannyasi or a yogi. Now further Krishna explains, there is no difference between yoga and renunciation, because yoga or a yogi has to be renounced. One cannot say, I have not renounced. And what has to be renounced? Desire for sense gratification has to be renounced. So, if you are doing your work and you are not attached to the fruits of your action, and you renounce desire for sense gratification, then you are already a yogi, you are a sannyasi. So then you don't require to do this, Krishna is saying. Next, Krishna says, This is what is important. For one who is neophyte in the eightfold yoga system, work is said to be the means. So in the beginning of Ashtanga Yoga, one is asked not to renounce his prescribed duties. And for one who has already attained to yoga, yoga rudha, one who has attained to that stage, cessation of all material activities is said to be the means. Because when one is already absorbed in God, when his mind is completely absorbed in God, that time he does not have to do his so-called prescribed duties. He is already above them. Somebody can renounce his work only when his mind has become attached to the lotus feet of the Lord. Then he has no more prescribed duties. Simply renouncing externally, Krishna is not advising. So both Krishna is explaining. Yoga rudha, when you have achieved, then don't do prescribed duty, not required. But when you are in the beginning stage, you have to keep on doing your prescribed duty. Okay. And then Krishna is explaining what is that stage, yoga rudha stage. A person is said to have attained to yoga when, having renounced all material desire, he neither acts for sense gratification nor engages in fruitive activities. So what is the meaning that he has renounced work? Cessation of work. Cessation of work means he is not acting for sense gratification, he is not acting for fruitive results. Then, next Krishna explains the role of mind in yoga. First Krishna explains about the role of work, prescribed duties in yoga. So Krishna explained, don't renounce your duties in the beginning. Later when you have attained that stage of yoga rudha, then you can renounce fruitive activities, all those things. And now Krishna explains the very important role of mind which is involved in yoga system. Man must elevate himself by his own mind, not degrade himself. The mind is the friend of the conditioned soul and his enemy as well. The Prabhupada explains, mind is something like a driver. Mind is something like a driver. Now, driver should be instructed by the passenger. But if you give power of attorney to the driver, then you have to be satisfied with wherever he takes you. So if you, as a passenger, tell the driver, take me to Hare Krishna temple, he will bring you to Hare Krishna temple. But if you tell the driver, take me to liquor house, he will take you to liquor house also. He has no other work, he is just following. Suppose you give it to him, you decide, wherever you want you take me. Then mind will not take you to Hare Krishna temple, he will take you to liquor house only. So, we should not give the power of attorney to the mind. If you give power of attorney to the mind, mind will be your worst enemy. But if you give instructions to the mind, and the mind carries out your instructions, he will be your best friend. So Krishna is saying, one should elevate himself by the mind. If mind helps you to be elevated, it is best friend. If mind drags our consciousness down, it is our worst enemy. Okay. Then next Krishna says, for him who has conquered the mind, same thing. That means mind should listen to what I am saying. That is the meaning of conquered the mind. Not that mind has taken the power of attorney and doing whatever it likes. So in devotional service also it is very important to beat the mind left and right. Every day before sleeping, take out a broomstick and beat it 1,000 times. Every day before you get up for Mangalarati, beat it with shoes 1,000 times. Otherwise it will not make you to wake up for Mangalarati. Mind will say, you have given power of attorney to the mind, better little bit more rest I will take. Alarm is ringing, snooze, another 10 minutes, 20 minutes. Isn't it? So Krishna is saying, when is the mind your best friend? When it is under your control. When the mind hears you. When the mind carries out our order, it is the best friend. But if you have given the power of attorney, it is going to be your worst enemy. If you give it mind, you decide whatever you want, then it is our worst enemy. So Krishna is saying, for him who has conquered the mind, mind is the best of friend. For one who has failed to do so, his mind will be the greatest enemy. So you should mind this, isn't it? And then Krishna says, moment you have conquered the mind, you are advanced. This is the sign of yoga. Understand this. Advancement in yoga means control of mind. Yoga indriya samyamya. Yoga is meant for controlling the mind and senses. Moment mind is under control, Krishna is saying you have reached to the platform of Paramatma, Super Soul. For one who has conquered the mind, the Super Soul is already reached. For he has attained tranquility. To such a man, happiness and distress. And what is the sign? If mind is controlled, sign will be happiness, distress equal. If your mind is elated, today everybody is clapping. I have collected so much, and you are very elated. And when no collection, mind is very down, dull. Prabhu, aaj bahar nahi jaunga. Today I cannot go out. Very dull. No contacts. Nobody is giving. That means mind is still not under our control. If mind is under our control, it is conquered, means happiness, distress, heat, cold, honor, dishonor, all are same. Next Krishna says, person is said to be established in self-realization and is called a yogi, mystic, when he is fully satisfied by virtue of acquired knowledge and realization. Jnana and Vijnana, both are important. Jnana is called acquired knowledge, and Vijnana, acting on that knowledge when you become realized, is called Vijnana. So, when you have attained Jnana and Vijnana, then it is called that yes, you have got self-realization. Such a person is situated in transcendence. He is not on material platform and is self-controlled. He sees everything, pebble, stone, gold, same. No difference. You understand what is this? It's all material values, isn't it? Just like Sanatana Goswami. Touch stone, which can convert everything to gold, he had kept it in dustbin. Because that is the value of that touchstone. And then when that person who had satisfied Lord Shiva and he was directed by him that your desires can be fulfilled by Sanatan Goswami, he is living in Vrindavan. You go and ask him the most valuable thing. So when this man approached Sanatan Goswami knew his mind that he is very materialistic man. What is most valuable for him is gold. So he said, okay, you can do one thing. You want most valuable thing? You can go to that dustbin and take that. So he was very elated, became very happy. Anything he touches becomes gold. But then he started thinking, looks like Sanatan Goswami has not given me the most valuable thing. Because most valuable thing nobody will keep in dustbin. Anybody keeps in dustbin? Money. Maybe for income tax purpose you may keep it. Some businessman, they will keep it in dustbin, so that income tax people, they will open tijori, they will not open dustbin. But otherwise everybody keeps it in safe locker. Correct? So then he started wondering, if it was most valuable, Sanatan Goswami will not keep it in dustbin. So he went back and said, I don't think you have given me the most valuable thing. Please give me the most valuable thing. So then Sanatan Goswami told, if you want most valuable thing, first thing, throw this touchstone in the river. You will have touchstone also and holy name. That is not possible. First you throw it in the river. So that was thrown in the river, and then when he came back, he told him, now you chant the holy name of the Lord. And that is the most valuable thing. So, for a self-realized person, there is no value. Pebble, gold, diamond, everything is same. Of course, if it can be utilized, if gold can be utilized in the service of the Lord, but for his vision, material vision, how he sees, there is no such difference. And then Krishna says further, person is said to be still further advanced when he regards all the honest, well-wisher, friends and enemies, envious, pious, sinner, and those who are indifferent and impartial with an equal mind. Now this is also very important. So from tomorrow, you should not think, here it is said, envious, enemies, friends, let me go and embrace a tiger, isn't it? Because it is said, with equal vision I should see, isn't it? So I was reading, Lord Kapila explains very nicely, in future chapters you will find that, he will explain very nicely. There are three ways. Internally, devotee honors every single living entity. Understanding, two understanding. One, in every body there is Atma, there is Paramatma. Paramatma, he is the Supreme Lord. He is not affected by the environment of the body. There are people who think God has entered into a poor man, so God has also become poor. And they call him Daridra Narayana. You see. But actually, this word we have never heard. In the scriptures, it is always said Lakshmi Narayana, Vaikuntha Narayana. Where it is Daridra Narayana? This is foolishness. His position is Achyuta. He never falls from position. Even when he is in the heart of a hog, he is still in Vaikuntha. Because he is never affected by the environment of this body, three modes of material nature. The soul is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. So when a devotee sees, he sees like this, that yes, every body is like a temple because the Supreme Lord is situated in that body, in the heart. And also it is sanctified because part of God, part and parcel of God, Atma is also situated. But unfortunately, someone is in ignorance, someone is awakened, someone is sleeping in ignorance. He sees the reality. So, Lord Kapila advises three-way treatment. He says, Mana, Maitreya, Dana. For superiors, Mana. With our heart and soul, we should respect them. If we serve great personalities, the Mahatmas, with proper attitude and respect, our gateway to liberation will be open. For equal, bodhayante parasparam, we should have friendship, and always whenever we meet together, instead of so many other topics, we should only discuss Krishna Katha. Krishna says that, bodhayante parasparam. They always sit together and discuss my glories. And for living entities which are lower in their consciousness than mine, it could be ignorant mass of people, even human being, or other living entities, cats and dogs. For them, dana. Dana is not given to a rich man. Dana is given to a poor man. So, for a rich man or for a person who is superior to us, mana is given, respect is given. For a person who is inferior to us, dana is given. And Prabhupada explains, the best form of charity for ignorant mass of people is feed them with sumptuous prasadam. And Prabhupada gives the example of Shivananda Sena, who delivered even a dog by his association and feeding him Krishna Prasad. So, that is how one should act. So, that is the meaning. How an advanced devotee sees equally envious, non-envious, all these. Internally he understands everybody is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. But his behavior with everyone is different. Prabhupada says that. Even a yogi in the jungle, not that he is seeing in the tiger the Supreme Lord is residing and he is also equal, let me go and embrace him. Then you will become his food, isn't it? Whereas he will leave, he will give even prasadam to tigers and whatever, so that they can also become benefited. That is how it is. Next, Krishna says, transcendentalist should always try to concentrate his mind on the Supreme Self. He should live alone in a secluded place and should always carefully control his mind. He should be free from desire and feeling of possessiveness. These are all yoga rude stages Krishna is describing. Transcendentalist, what he should do, try to always concentrate his mind on Supreme Soul. Live alone in a secluded place and carefully control his mind, free from desire and feeling of possessiveness. And next, Krishna is explaining how to start yoga system. After explaining, first Krishna explained Karma is better. When a person starts yoga, first he should keep on doing his duties. And then Krishna explains about Yoga Ruda stage. Mind is absorbed. He sees pebble, everything with equal vision. Now Krishna starts describing how one begins this Ashtanga Yoga. And nearly the same text you can see. Shuchau deshe pratisthapya. To practice yoga, one should go to a secluded place, should lay kusha grass on the ground, cover it with a deer skin and a soft cloth. Seat should never be too high nor too low. It should be situated in a sacred place. Now, very important thing is, it may be possible for very few people, and that too in Kali Yuga. It is not at all possible even for few people, because one has to renounce his work, one has to renounce everything, his family, all attachments. He has to be secluded, alone. One cannot be in an assembly of people, group of people. One cannot be in a public place and practice yoga. This is not recommended. Somebody may do, but in Vedas it is not recommended. Bhagavad Gita it is not recommended. Asana, all these things has to be practiced in a secluded and sacred place. Then it will be effective. On the other hand, congregational chanting, Sankirtana, Prabhupada explains what is the meaning of Sankirtana. Bahubhir militva kirtayati iti. Bahubhir militva. When many people gather together, kirtayati, and they sing the glories of the Lord, that is called Sankirtana. See? There alone. Here it is required that more the number of people, then more it is better. Better will be Sankirtana. And Bhakti Yoga is also more simple because very easy engagement by hearing and chanting, Shravanam, Kirtan. Just like Ashtanga has 8 anga, there is Navavidha Bhakti. There are 9 different aspects of devotional service, beginning with Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam. So beginning with Shravanam, Kirtanam, it is very easy, even a child can participate in that. So more we will see in further classes. Purantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada.